Canada, the land of hockey, breathtaking landscapes and polite citizens, is facing an economic crisis that's shaking its foundations. The Great White North is grappling with soaring inflation, a housing market gone wild, and persistent unemployment. These issues are impacting the lives of everyday Canadians from coast to coast. This isn't just about numbers, it's about real people struggling to put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads. The Canadian dream feels increasingly out of reach for many. We'll examine how rising prices are eroding purchasing power, forcing families to make tough choices. We'll explore the housing market, where sky-high prices have become the norm, leaving many priced out of home ownership. And we'll look at the unemployment landscape, where job losses and precarious work arrangements are creating economic insecurity. Inflation, that sneaky thief in the night, is quietly emptying the wallets of Canadians. The cost of everything from groceries to gasoline has skyrocketed, leaving families struggling to make ends meet. Imagine going to the grocery store and finding that your usual cart of food now costs significantly more. The rising cost of living is particularly challenging for low-income families and seniors living on fixed incomes. These vulnerable populations are disproportionately affected by inflation, as a larger portion of their income goes towards basic necessities. Global supply chain disruptions, the war in Ukraine, and increased demand have all contributed to rising prices. While some factors are beyond Canada's control, there are domestic policies that can help mitigate the impact of inflation. Addressing this issue requires a multi-pronged approach that tackles both the immediate symptoms and the underlying causes of inflation. The Canadian dream of home ownership is slipping away for many, as the housing market has become a playground for the wealthy. Sky-high prices, bidding wars, and a shortage of affordable housing options have created a crisis impacting families, young professionals, and newcomers alike. In major cities like Toronto and Vancouver, the average price of a home has soared to astronomical levels, making it nearly impossible for first-time buyers to enter the market. Even those with stable incomes and good credit are finding themselves outbid by investors and wealthy individuals. This has created a generation of renters trapped in a cycle of rising rents and stagnant wages. The lack of affordable housing options is particularly acute in urban centres, where demand far outstrips supply. This has led to overcrowding, homelessness, and a growing sense of despair among those struggling to find a place to call home. Addressing this challenge requires bold action from all levels of government, including investments in affordable housing and policies to curb speculation. The COVID-19 pandemic wreaked havoc on the Canadian job market, leaving many unemployed or underemployed. While the economy has shown signs of recovery, unemployment rates remain stubbornly high in certain sectors and regions. The pandemic exposed the precarious nature of many jobs, particularly in the service and hospitality sectors. Millions of Canadians were laid off or had their hours reduced, leaving them struggling to pay bills and support their families. Even as the economy rebounds, many of these jobs have not returned, leaving a gap in the labour market. Certain regions, particularly those reliant on resource extraction or tourism, have been hit harder than others. Addressing the unemployment challenge requires a multifaceted approach that includes investments in job training programs and support for small businesses. It also requires addressing the underlying structural issues that contribute to unemployment, such as a lack of affordable childcare and inadequate access to education and training. Inflation, housing affordability, and unemployment are not isolated problems. They are interconnected threads in a complex economic tapestry. These issues feed off each other, creating a vicious cycle that traps individuals and families in a web of financial insecurity. When inflation rises, the cost of living increases, making it harder for people to afford basic necessities, including housing. This puts upward pressure on rents and home prices, exacerbating the housing affordability crisis. At the same time, unemployment can lead to financial hardship, making it even more difficult for people to afford housing and other essentials. The interconnected nature of these challenges means that addressing them requires a holistic approach. Simply tackling one issue in isolation is unlikely to be effective. To truly address Canada's economic crisis, we need to tackle all three issues simultaneously with policies that are coordinated and mutually reinforcing. Despite the daunting challenges, there are glimmers of hope on the horizon. Innovative solutions, community initiatives, and government policies offer a path forward to a more equitable and resilient economy. One potential solution is to raise the minimum wage, ensuring that all workers earn a living wage that allows them to meet their basic needs. Another promising approach is to invest in affordable housing, creating more housing units that are accessible to low and moderate income families. Investing in job training and skills development programs can help equip workers with the skills they need to succeed in the changing economy. These are just a few of the potential solutions that can help address Canada's economic crisis. By working together, we can create a more just and prosperous future for all Canadians. It's like planting seeds of hope that will blossom into a brighter tomorrow. The Canadian government has recognized the urgency of the economic crisis and has implemented several initiatives aimed at tackling these challenges. One notable initiative is the National Housing Strategy, a multi-billion-dollar program aimed at creating more affordable housing units across the country. This program provides funding for the construction and renovation of affordable housing, as well as support for renters and homeless individuals. The government has also introduced measures to address inflation, such as targeted support for low-income families and seniors. These measures provide financial assistance to help offset the rising cost of living, ensuring that vulnerable populations are not left behind. In addition, the government has invested in job creation programs and skills development initiatives. These programs aim to connect unemployed Canadians with job opportunities and provide them with the training they need to succeed in the modern workforce. While these initiatives are promising, more needs to be done. The government must continue to monitor the situation closely and adjust its policies as needed. Canada's vast geography and diverse economy create regional disparities in economic opportunity and well-being. While some regions thrive, others struggle with high unemployment, declining industries, and a lack of affordable housing. The Atlantic provinces, for example, have long faced economic challenges due to their reliance on traditional industries like fishing and forestry. These industries have declined in recent years, leading to job losses and economic stagnation. In contrast, provinces like Alberta and Saskatchewan have benefited from the oil and gas boom, experiencing strong economic growth and low unemployment. However, these provinces are also vulnerable to fluctuations in global commodity prices, as demonstrated by the recent downturn in the energy sector. Addressing regional disparities requires a tailored approach that takes into account the unique challenges and opportunities of each region. By recognizing and addressing these regional disparities, Canada can build a more inclusive and prosperous economy that benefits all Canadians, regardless of where they live. The economic crisis is not just about numbers and statistics, it's about real people whose lives are being impacted in profound ways. Hearing their stories puts a human face on the crisis and reminds us of the urgency of finding solutions. Meet Sarah, a single mother in Toronto who works 2 jobs but still can't afford a decent apartment for her and her 2 children. Then there's John, a laid-off factory worker in a small town in Ontario. He's struggling to find a new job in his community and is considering moving away from his family to find work. And finally there's Maria, a senior citizen living on a fixed income in Vancouver. She's struggling to keep up with the rising cost of living and is worried about being able to afford her medication and groceries. These are just a few of the countless stories of Canadians who are struggling to navigate the economic crisis. Their experiences remind us that behind the statistics are real people with real needs and aspirations. By listening to their voices, we can gain a deeper understanding of the human cost of the crisis and work together to find solutions that work for everyone. Despite the challenges, there is reason for optimism. Canadians are resilient and innovative, and they have a history of overcoming adversity. By working together, we can build a more equitable and prosperous future for all. The government, the private sector, and community organizations are all playing a role in addressing the economic crisis. New initiatives are being launched, innovative solutions are being explored, and Canadians are coming together to support each other. The path forward will not be easy, and there will be setbacks along the way. But by staying focused on our shared goals and working together, we can overcome these challenges and build a stronger, more resilient economy. The future of Canada is bright, and together we can make it even brighter.